It was my husband's birthday a few days ago. I wanted to throw him a nice dinner. I am going to try and make 10 of his absolute favorite dishes. I have no idea if I'm gonna be successful. Here's the other thing. He thinks it's just the two of us, but I've actually invited all of his friends to join us as a surprise.
10 dishes is a lot, but this isn't my first rodeo. The day before, I start prepping, making lots of lists, and after I complete my handwritten notes, I transfer them to, you guessed it, an Excel spreadsheet. Here, I list out everything I plan to make, along with the groceries for each dish from both the Korean and American grocery stores, as well as a very detailed timeline broken out into 30-minute increments. First up on the list, focaccia dough. I've made this recipe for focaccia a bunch of times now, and I've noticed that the brand of flour that you use can have a real impact on how dry and or how wet your dough is going to be. Today I used King Arthur's organic flour, but a couple of weeks ago I used Bob's Red Mill, and I found that I needed to add a lot more water to the latter brand of flour than I did for King Arthur's. So just keep that in mind. Next on my list is chocolate cake. I'm using parchment paper at the bottom of my cake pans just to ensure that they don't stick. I highly recommend that you do the same. Bananas are sort of an egg replacement that lots of vegans use, but I just like to add it to my cake because I love bananas. I'm also going to add 2 shots of espresso to my cake. You can use decaf if you're afraid of the caffeine. I just love the real deep, intense flavor the espresso adds to my cake. Instead of simply adding the wet ingredients to the dry, I like to heat the wet ingredients along with the Dutch processed cocoa powder in order to intensify the flavor and also help to melt some of the sugar in the dry ingredients. And yes, in case you can't tell, I am weighing how much batter I put into each cake pan. Next up is miyeokguk. What's miyeokguk? Well, it's Korean seaweed soup. It's the traditional soup that you make for someone you love on their birthday, as evidenced by numerous Korean dramas, including my all-time favorite, Kim Samsun. In order to make miyeokguk, you need miyeok, or undaria, sometimes called wakame, and a little goes a long way, so don't use too much. My mom taught me this trick. It's really good to 볶아 or stir fry the dried seaweed in a little bit of sesame oil before you make the soup. Normally you don't add doenjang to miyeokguk, but my sister-in-law made me this amazing miyeokguk once, and she said she added a little doenjang to it, so I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm also adding vegetable stock instead of just water. Next, I'm supposed to prep a bunch of veggies, but I call an audible and move straight to making cucumber kimchi after talking with my mom that morning. She told me I need to make the sauce for that hours in advance. When I first started making japchae, the bell peppers were always too thick. So what I started doing was actually cutting them laterally like that in order to make them julienne really, really thin. Julienning some carrot for the japchae, obviously, but I'm also going to brunoise them for my keranmari along with some red bell pepper. I'm going to use just the zucchini skin or peel for my buchingge, again, just because I think it looks prettier. Don't worry, I save the insides for sundubuchige, which I make the next day. My mother imparted yet another bit of wisdom. Use vegetable stock for your Korean pancakes. Now the tricky part is how much vegetable stock. She has no idea. You just kind of go with it until it gets to that consistency. Now that the buchingge are well in hand, I'm supposed to be making pesto, but once again, I skip over and go directly to the second proof for my focaccia. Timing is really important. I don't want to overproof the dough, and I also want to make sure that there's plenty of time left to second proof the dough and then bake the dough later on before dinner. Sometimes you just gotta go with what the dough tells you. I've never boiled cucumbers for cucumber muchim, but my mom swears it makes them stay crispy a lot longer. A lot of people start with the butter when making frosting. I always start with the powdered sugar along with the melted chocolate and then add the butter. Vegan butters tend to be a little bit less stable than traditional butters, and I find that this method helps to prevent against a broken frosting, which I hate. And this is why I weighed the amount of batter that went into each cake pan. I want to have 2 equally sized cakes when I make my beautiful birthday cake for Anthony. I'm making chocolate cake for Anthony because Anthony has very opinionated beliefs on chocolate cake. One time in college, the dorm started offering a rotation of desserts for the students, and he got really mad and he wrote a letter to the school dorm and said, "Really, there is no other more perfect dessert than chocolate cake. So why are you effing with it?" Hence, I will not F with Anthony's birthday cake. I'm also going with a naked frost or a very thin layer of buttercream frosting because Anthony doesn't like lots of frosting. I made these chicken fried mushrooms for Anthony as part of my challenge to myself to make a fried chicken sandwich that was vegan, and now he's kind of obsessed with it. He could eat these every day. I saw these beautiful perilla leaves at the Korean grocery store, couldn't help but buy them, had no idea how I would use them, but then I thought I'd make these beautiful laminated gorgeous layers inside my keranmari, and I gotta say, it was brilliant. Perilla leaves, or 깻잎, always makes me think of my grandmother, my 친할머니. She would always task me with picking 깻잎 from our backyard, and it was one of my favorite things to do because it made me feel useful in the kitchen. At this point, I was supposed to make the japchae and the pesto pasta, but I think I just panicked and went straight to tteokbokki for some reason. As you can tell, I'm a little bit more frantic in my movements here. Lilith. You're so cute. Here's the thing with japchae. The reason people get it for their birthday is because it is a very labor-intensive dish. You have to saute all of the vegetables separately so that they each maintain their flavor when they're put together at the very end. No, this is not meat. This is called plant-inspired kalbi. I have found that it is the closest thing to kalbi I have ever eaten since going vegan. I actually learned about this pesto pasta dish from a woman I met at a party. She was from Genoa, which is a region of Italy, and she told me that there was a regional favorite that was pesto, penne, and get this, potatoes. And I thought she was effing with me, but I actually Googled it, and this is a real dish, a pasta with potatoes in it. Okay, so before we continue making our Genovese pesto pasta, we need to get a money shot of this keranmari with the perilla leaf lamination. I mean, am I brilliant or am I brilliant? I'm not gonna lie, the cucumber muchim didn't turn out as good as when my mom makes it, but that's pretty much true of everything my mom makes. I will say that I ate it several days later, and true to word, it was still super crunchy and really yummy. All right, we are turning the corner. The finish line is in sight, y'all. We are sprinting to the end. We are at the final dish, tteokbokki. And I know what you guys are thinking. Why the heck are you chopping up tomatoes for tteokbokki? Well, my husband loves tomatoes. Like, he's Italian, so he's gonna want marinara in every effing thing. So what I did is I created a recipe that's called tteokbokki arrabbiata. It's tteokbokki, so you see the gochugaru, but I also add tomatoes and red bell peppers, which is an homage to the arrabbiata, i.e. the Italian in my husband. Okay, so I know you don't see the timing in a convenient way. I'm trying to do it in a realistic way. I'm literally vlogging this as I go. But to make this pasta, you boil the potatoes first, then you add the pasta, then you add the green beans at the very end. You drain all the excess liquid, and then you add the pesto along with a little bit of pasta water, and voila! You get this beautiful Genovese pesto penne. It's literally our favorite pasta. And that is it. All 10 dishes present and accounted for. We did it! And we did it on time, which is incredibly important. Waiting for our guests to arrive. I successfully completed all 10 dishes on time. I'm really excited about it. I don't know how they taste though. I'm hoping that they taste good. I don't know. But dinner starts in 3 minutes. I think he knows. I think he knows. I think he's trying to be a good sport and he's pretending he doesn't know, but I think he knows. Hello. They say it's really difficult to make friends, particularly later on in your life. Anthony is turning 51, and believe it or not, everyone we invited to his dinner, we only just met a couple of years ago, and now we can't imagine our lives without them. We ate a lot of food and everyone really liked the cake. I like the cake too.